Hey, welcome back to Drive Time. I am your host, Craig Pasta Jardula, and we do it live, bringing you all the hot takes, headlines, and unfiltered opinions that matter most. Whether you're stuck in traffic, cruising to work, or just chilling at home, we want to hear from you. Today's topics are all about the big stories making waves, but we're not just here to talk at you. We want to hear your thoughts, your experiences, and your take on everything from the latest political debates to the everyday challenges we face. Remember, whether you're on the left, the right, or somewhere in between, we welcome all points of view. So grab that hands-free device, dial us up, and let's dive into the conversation. What's on your mind? It's Drive Time. Call in now.
You're muted.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me, Josh. Sleepy J. Screw you. I'm a champion now. Okay.
Go Knicks.
I'm a champion. Headlines of the week, right? The headlines of the week. We need you to do us a favor and share this out there, guys. People are just waking up. Long weekend. Look at Fred Edward in there first. It's been a long weekend.
Had his coffee.
I had like a first half a cup. I refilled it up right before the show started in my championship Knicks mug. Guys, if you're on Rumble, if you're on YouTube, thank you so much. This is episode 16, right? I think did you get the thumbnail up for YouTube, or is it just like the?
No, I'll get thumbnails done today.
What do you mean? Don't skip on the thumbnails.
I was dead, man. I had to sleep for a couple of days.
You know, just because you got your power knocked out for a couple of days, you had to eat earthworms, drink rainwater, and seek shelter under rocks.
Dude, it took me an hour to make a fucking lukewarm cup of coffee. It was awful.
Coffee. By the way, guys, I want to thank you all for being here. This is the Monday. This is episode 16. It's been a slow build, a slow trickle in. It really gets cool after 9 o'clock because then people start waking up and start jumping in. And at the end of the show, we have like 25 people on YouTube and 25 people on Rumble. That happened the last couple of days with Karen Kwiatkowski, who's here on Thursdays. Kyle Anzalone was Thursday. That was a fun show. We had a show on Thursday and Friday. We had nobody can call in because Sleepy J was caught in those thunderstorms. You see, if you're looking at his icon,
that was a tornado, my friend.
What happened exactly? Let all the boys and girls know why you played hooky on Thursday and Friday.
So Wednesday night, a tornado hit about a mile from me and just knocked out a shit ton. It knocked out about a quarter of the power for the city. So, and I didn't get any power for a couple days, and lost all my food. You know, all that fun shit.
You gotta throw your food away from your refrigerator. That sucks.
I had a like 16-pound turkey in there, all kinds of shit, man.
Like I went to Orlando for a day and a half, like, you know what I'm saying? Go see my friend. And I was like, right before I went, I bought all this meat. So I was like, damn, if the electricity goes out and the electricity goes out, I lose all these ribs and steaks. And welcome back, Sleepy Pasta to go. Glad to know your transistors got fixed.
Yeah, man.
Transistors or transmitters?
I didn't even see a damn power truck for 2 fucking days. But I blame that on being in the poor neighborhood. So,
you're in the lower class neighborhood, and you don't see any power trucks, right?
No, not until
that's the socialism that I like. You know, I'm always talking about like a little socialism here and there is not bad. I call it collectivism. But Nicaragua, you know, they have these autonomous zones. There's like 8 zones in Nicaragua, and 2 of them are autonomous. Literally, they're Afro-Indigenous, Caribbean Indigenous people in Nicaragua in these certain sections that make their own laws, have their own judges. The federal government doesn't get involved. There's a lot of masterful shit they did in Nicaragua. It really should be the model of a poor country, how you adapt within the grips, too, of the empire. Empire's always trying to sanction them. So they have their own indigenous area. But when the hurricanes hit, because they're right on the Caribbean coast, the government shows up with trucks and electricians and plumbers and all this other shit. That's where they get a chance to show you most. And it's a poor area. I mean, they just built the road. They call it the road to Bilwi, right? They built this road that it used to take like 2-3 days to get there from the capital. But just recently, They built the big roads and highways, and all these infrastructure projects are being completed in Nicaragua, so markets are moving around. It's kind of cool. Over the weekend, and it's good, Josh, I'm just saying when the poor people show up, when the government shows up, when the poor people in the poor people's areas to fix shit, that's the good socialism, right? It doesn't know any ticket price. I live in Highland Beach with my mom, and on the water over here, it's like 3-mile strip. There's cops every day. The speed limit's 35. If you go 38, they will pull you over. They're like, you're not speeding through this ritzy beach community. Nope. That's
where are your papers
for you. What'd you say?
I said, where are your papers?
Where are your papers? Where are your papers? V will ask the questions. Over the weekend, we had the Carolina Hurricanes last night win 3-0. I think they got an empty goal, an empty netter, but they won the series. That series looked like it was going to go 7, but it went 6. Carolina has won their second title. So all you Carolina people who like hockey out there, or if you like the Carolina Hurricanes and you live anywhere, congratulations to you. You are champions. On Saturday night, right? When it really went down, my friend, the New York Knicks won for the first time since 1953.
Congratulations.
1973. I got it wrong. The year I was born. 53 years ago, the Knicks won the title. They just won it on Saturday. Character team, underdogs. Their MVP, Jalen Brunson, was the 33rd pick in the draft. Went to Villanova. 2 other teammates that won a title with him on that college team or on this team. What's up there, Tatiana? Hope you're doing well. If you're joining in, Tati, Mrs. Moreau's one of the greatest singer-songwriters that looks exactly like Lisa Loeb to ever exist. I call her the Polish Lisa Loeb. I mean, she's amazing, beautiful voice, great heart, snappy, very sharp woman. Go check out her stuff. Hopefully, we'll be chilling out 4th of July. But the New York Knicks are now the champions. They won first time in a long time, and it's kind of crazy. They didn't burn down New York, so that was kind of cool. Thank God. I haven't seen reports of what's going on. We'll see what's going on. We'll pay attention, but I don't think New York burnt down. I think people were just very happy by it. They saw it, so they got champions in New York. So we got Carolina Panthers. That now, while all that was going on, all your papers. While all that was going on, there's a little thing called a war. No big deal. Don't want to bother you. Don't get up. Please sit down. It's the United States. We're in wars all the time. Okay, right? This is the part where they love the libertarians out
Tuesday,
there, right?
Of course.
Yeah, the non-aggression principle, right? Like I really do have that Ron Paul mentality as far as like our foreign policy. Like, people would say, what's the difference between a leftist and a libertarian when it comes to like war and interventions? Well, I think a lot of leftists would have probably saw themselves intervening in Rwanda had they known the truth that we started the fucking problem to begin with. But had they known, like, they'll intervene, right? The Ron Paul mentality is, you don't intervene. It ain't the United States. It ain't your problem. You don't intervene, right? That's it. You stay out of it. I'm kind of at that level, Sleepy, where it's like, I don't even want the United States to do anything for good with a gun anymore.
Period.
For a while.
I'm over it, man.
It's fucking ridiculous.
We never, even if we like have quote unquote good intentions, it never ends that way. So what the fuck's the point? But I don't think there's any good intentions to begin with. So
while there were, exactly. So while there was, sports events going on, concerts, you know what I'm saying? This and that, entertainment, it's still, everything's cool in America. We had a little thing called the war going on. Don't get up. We said it. And that supposedly they had a peace deal right now. And I think this one is actually going to go through, and there's going to be a lot of questions. Right now, here's where the questions, where the true the community is. So, this is a morning show I just did because, I pitched a morning show for RT that they really weren't interested in. But, I had different people from different, ideologies on the show as far as hosts are concerned. One of them, her name was Courtney Turner. She was like the truther community, the conspiracy theorist. And I called one of my friends right now because there is this question, like, who's really involved Sleepy, in the global, control, the globalist mentality that want to bring it about like more control in a one world government. Are these nation states, if you called them that, because I don't call this a nation state. We're run by oligarchs, by a ruling class, right? I know people, we're run by the Zionists. Yeah, they got accomplices,
I think
my
it's,
friend. Huh?
I don't know. I'm
What?
I've never thought that Israel just totally runs us. I think it's a beneficial relationship for both.
That's the narrative,
basically.
that they're the puppet masters. They're the ones control. Everything fails. All else. So that's what these guys, Nick Fuentes, Dan Blazarian, and Candace Owens, are preaching to you, that they're at the top. America's a victim. Right?
If we didn't want what's going on in the Mideast to happen, we would not allow it to happen.
Say that again.
I said if we didn't want something to happen in the Mideast, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
we could cut the funding immediately. That'd be done.
That's what the technicalities, the marketing says, right? That's what it's supposed to happen. We have the checkbook. We write. You know what I'm saying? They only do anything on, and that's a great thing to point out. That's what I point out all the time, right? Like where people are like, well, it's Israel bombing Gazans. No, it's American bombs. Every fucking bomb that they drop comes from the U.S. of A. So you're right. At the end of the day, we can pull the plug. That's it. Walk away. Say no mas. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a whole ruling class of Western oligarchs, right? Of Western elites, of whatever you want to fucking call these people. Like I said, no nation states. First of all, the Zionists really aren't religious. They're pretend Jews, right? They're not even really Jewish. The real Jewish people are against Zionism, and they're like, fuck that shit. But the Zionists just use that as a mechanism to weaponize so they can further wars and stuff. God promised us this land, boom. The way they treat Christians in Israel, all this shit, it's all weaponized. But those people, they're just about control, money, resources. There's all these people, and Smedley Butler wrote a book about this. It was from all his speeches, and this was before Israel was a country. Now, I believe it was called the Balfour is it documentation or is it Belfort? It's not a bill or whatever. Like it was something written about Israel seeking their own land, and that was written along before Israel. Declaration. It was the Belfort whatever it is.
I think so.
I get my shit. If it's in front of me, I can see it. I looked over it before too. We played videos I played videos with one of the Rothschilds talking about it. They wanted Israel before there was an Israel long ago. Zionists were running around. We know this and stuff, but Smedley Butler wrote a book, and he says how war is a racket. People just think missiles, bombs, that thing when it comes to war. No. You got to feed soldiers and sailors. You got to give them entertainment. You got to move them around. You got to put them in uniform, looking good, right? You got to do all that stuff, and that costs a lot of money. There's a whole industry built on that. So even though they're like, oh, we're fighting these wars for Israel, you think those people are just, well, if we get some work, hopefully. No, they're fucking pushing for war behind the scenes too. This is a group
make some money, dude.
People, man. They got no real religion. People call them more like Satanists because they don't give a fuck about human life.
They worship green, man. That's it. They worship green.
This ain't just about Israel. This is about them working together. So, I mean, back to the peace deal. The question is, a lot of people who are involved, who are under the control of the globalists? Is Russia, right? There was a time when Putin spoke in Davos. Then they removed him from the website. He was no longer invited. A lot of people said, well, he's kind of stepped out of this whole thing, and, he's not playing along with the games. He's bombing the biolabs in the Ukraine. This is legitimate him, right? Now, if you look at this thing on paper, another libertarian that I like, but I disagree with him on this, was Scott Horton, where he feels that the Russians shouldn't have gone in, where you're looking at the situation like they had to fucking go in. They tried to end this here. They tried to find peace treaties. These are ethnic Russians on the borders getting slaughtered by a bunch of fucking Nazis armed by NATO. True thing. Color revolution pushed by the US of A. Of course he can go in. He should go in. People of Russia would say, what the fuck, Vladdy? Get your ass in there. 8 years, finally, military operations. But now,
goddamn long though, man.
It's gone on longer than the Great Patriotic War. And people are like, all right, Vladdy, what the fuck? I still see his advisor out there, Dmitry Kravil, whatever the fuck that douchebag's name is, still playing into the right-wing game. There's a whole group of Russians that are like, oh, the Trump administration's better than the Biden administration's. Dude, I saw Putin in the what's his name? The guy who wrote Scarface and did it, the Oliver Stone film, say like he pretty much he said that it doesn't make a difference who the president of the United States is. You're dealing with this fucking apparatus above it that makes all the decisions. So why all of a sudden are they still playing this bullshit game? A lot of people are starting to think right now, and somebody told me the other day that like, oh, maybe they're all a part of this. Russia's going in. Vladimir Putin, he's all a part of it. He's got this guy that wants to plug into the West. So, either way, whether it be he's part of the globalist agenda, Russia is, and Vladimir Putin, or they just want to plug back into the West, that BRICS is just a way of using leverage because they want to do business with the West. Who's going to pay top dollar for that oil they got over there in Russia? United States and, the markets. They definitely want to be plugged in to swipe. So people are questioning what the fuck is going on over there. There are Russians who are like, you got to end this shit. Supposedly, there's been like a soft-handed approach up until this last weekend. See, now we've been talking about the Iran war so long that we forgot that. Remember that? I'll end it in 24 hours, Sleepy, before I even get in office. I got it. I'm going to end this war over there. I can end it. It's Biden's war. Still providing weapons. Still going on to this day. Fucking things have been so fucked up. The drone warfare is really kind of tucking in. Changed the whole landscape of war, by the way. People aren't talking about that. Yeah. At one point, Josh, they were driving trucks that Ukrainians were driving trucks into Russia, right? Parts of Russia where drones came out of the back of the trucks and fucking I mean, it's changed completely. And if realistically, if you look at this fucking war, how is Russia going to end this? He's not going to let a Nazi-infested, and they are Nazis in the government. I'm not saying everybody in Ukraine is a Nazi. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are descendants. I got to fucking do this. But on stage with Destiny in Texas, and people are after like, what do you think everybody in Ukraine's a Nazi? I said, I didn't say that, man. Of course, I didn't fucking say that. But there are descendants of Stefan Bandera, who's a fucking Nazi during World War II, fighting with the Germans to kill Jews in the Ukraine, right?
Look at their fucking tattoos, man.
They're still in the government.
Spot them.
The Azov Battalion, right, Jay? Right, Sleepy?
Mm-hmm.
Still infested.
Yes.
How is Russia going to just take the territory up and leave Kiev to a bunch of Russians who are going to be firing missiles into them? I mean, the problem that Israel claims with Hamas and Palestine, oh, it's not us, they keep firing rockets. Well, yeah, that was their fucking territory. You took a bunch of Palestinians, dragged them out of their homes and threw them into an open-air prison called Gaza. You don't think they're going to fire some shit at you? But, I mean, literally, they're sending drones in from Ukraine into proper Russia every single fucking day. Russia proper, nuclear plants. So that kind of war went on the side as the other war. Don't get up. We'll get that war for you. Get a refill over here. I mean, this is the attitude we have. Like, it's every day going on. Just war. People dying every single fucking day, women and children. Go on with your shit. Nobody's been talking about the Russia-Ukrainian war. We heard there's going to be some big hits. And I was seeing from some of my sources that Kiev got hit hard. And I said, they're never going to end this war unless they invade Kiev, which is a whole nother fucking story now, right? You go into Kiev, you're going to have like guerrilla-style warfare, all your buildings, all your houses, everything in Kiev. There's a chance of an Azov, guerrilla-style warfare if Russia tries to go in there. I mean, it would be just ridiculous. There was talks that hopefully they can make a deal where Poland can take part of Kiev or whatever, and then Russia take the part over there. But I don't think that even Poland wants to deal with that. I mean, people were talking about solutions. But anyways, Kiev's on fire. From what I understand, they hit it hard because Ukraine has been hitting, and they've been hitting parts
doing
of
terrorist
Russia,
attacks.
Russia.
They've been hitting a lot of civilians and shit, man.
Yeah. They hit a girls' school.
They love hitting civilians.
What the fuck? Anytime there's U.S. weapons, it finds a girls' school, whether it be in Gaza, Iran, or fucking Russia.
Gee,
isn't it crazy?
It's amazing. It's a coincidence.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got to pause on that. Guys, you're calling Drive Time. If you want to call in, speak to me or Sleepy J, 561-247-2721, 561-247-2721. That's Bernie Sanders, Blackjack. $27 a donation. We are talking a little bit about war. What is good for? We're talking about the peace. We haven't even talked about the peace deal yet. We're going to be talking about that later on Truthwire. Matt Weinglass will be with me around 12:15, 12:30-ish on the Truthwire, and we're going to take care of that stuff. But is Iran, is Russia? We haven't even got to China. That's China. That's the third one where people are like, Xi Jinping is plugged out, is moved outside. Interesting culture, interesting business and stuff. It's interesting things that are going down in China, right? Like, is China part of the globalist order?
China.
Love that. Been waiting to use that sign about. Some people think that that's the next war. It's with, hit it again, Josh.
China.
We don't play enough sound bites over here. I think that's what really brings the people in.
I'm not used to it. I've got to get more dialed into it.
Remember, we're radio on the TV, not TV on the radio. We're radio on the TV.
Well, I actually listen to most stuff. Like, I don't watch much. I like listen to it more than anything.
Radio's kind of cool. It's an art form that's coming back. You can leave it in the background. Right now, I hope there's just some people kind of chillaxing, right?
I'll tell you what, if I wouldn't have had my radio, I'd have been fucked these last few days because the second storm hit us the next day. And
that's what
I would have had no idea.
You're supposed to have the radio when all else fails. You're supposed to get your little portable radio, right?
Yep,
Crack it out.
I've got my little radio that's rechargeable, and I got a solar panel that'll charge it.
So it's the declaration. Thank you, Kendo Musha, over on the Rumble. And a dingo ate me, baby. You know, that's a movie.
Where's Dingo at?
They made a movie about that. There was a real story in Australia. A dingo went in, grabbed somebody's baby, and took off. And then
I see Dingo. He's on Rumble.
Yeah, it was really fucked up, creepy shit. Crazy.
I see a dingo.
Can you imagine that? But real life problems. What's up, a dingo ate me, baby? You talk about old school as a dingo.
Yeah, man. He's been around forever.
Well, everybody knows a dingo ate me, baby. Sleepy remembers you. He's always been in our circle. So China is the next one. Is China going to be a good one? Read this. Go ahead. Tornado Battalion were from Belarus. They have been put in jail by the SBU for crimes in the Donbass for rape, torture, murder, theft, extortion. They were let out when the SMO started, the Special Military Operation started. That's really interesting. Hold, put that back up, please.
Well, here's the first part. It's one of the Nazi groups.
Well, I didn't see it. Yeah. No, go to the other one. Go to the first one. Wow. 14 in total. 14 in total. So the Tornado Battalion, they were part of them? They were part of Nazis as well?
Yeah. All kinds of neo-Nazi shit over there.
Well, there is that shit going on, right? There is an actual racism towards other white people out there, right? Like they make these jokes that Russians aren't white enough for Americans. That's why we can go to war with them because we don't consider them white, whatever. However, there are these neo-Nazi groups, and it's kind of interesting the way they look at Russians, right? They call them orcs and shit. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a real fucked up.
It's the same way Israel talks about Palestinians, man. Like they're like subhuman or something. That's how they.
The way it is with China, the way we kind of antagonized via Taiwan. We used to be Hong Kong, but now they got a hold of Hong Kong, and they say no more. Yep, you're out of fucking Hong Kong. You're out of. Xi Jinping is like, you're out of here. No more Hong Kong for you. Oh my God. Does Russia need to take Kiev to end this war? I think they do. But Hong Kong, the way of, and this is kind of interesting. So I've done a lot of work down in Latin America, right? So I know about the CIA kind of antagonizing these governments by funding and weaponizing, literally arming, not weaponizing, but arming their oppositions, right, that they wanted. And when I say opposition, it's not just, this is another opinion we're fighting for the people of Guatemala and Nicaragua that don't have a voice. That's who America. No, we're supporting the guys like, hey, man, we put you in. You're going to give us those resources for cheap? Yep. Okay, let's go. This is the guy then stand behind him due to human rights reasons, religious reasons, and whatnot. I mean, these plenty of documented coups. These aren't a. I have a book around here somewhere about the coups for the last 30 years. There's been so many ridiculous ones,
Dude,
and
we've
there's
done
reasons
so many.
why they support coups, right? Like, you know, it's all over the place, and we have this antagonization in China via Taiwan. We've had it in Russia for so long. This whole situation in fucking the Ukraine is the United States proxy wars. You can go watch Ukraine on fire, decide for yourself. And it ain't propaganda because you actually the people speaking. You get the Victoria Nuland call, the Jeffrey Paya call. I don't think that leaked on accident. I think they got out there on fucking purpose. There was a reason why they wanted it out there. Like, they're almost rubbing this shit in our face and saying, we're going to fucking do what we want to do anyways. You're going to be conditioned to know that your government is just fake and that there's a real government within your government that's running things. Oh, we antagonized over there. We antagonized in Iran. We had the fucking, I mean, you got Mike Pompeo going, a Merry Christmas to all the Mossad agents who were walking in Iran. You know, we tried to fund all these other militia groups. So this is going back to Iran-Contra. But just recently, the Kurds, like, we'll get the guns to your people. And the Kurds took the guns themselves. We got guns now. Way to go, Kurds. That was funny. We antagonize, we instigate, we do this all over the place. That is the business of America, and it's not for the benefit of the everyday people in America. In other words, there's no fucking trickle down coming to the people of America for us doing what we're doing. No, we do it for multinational corporations via the ruling class. Some are Zionist, some just pretend to love Zionists. Whoever the fuck they are.
Oh, I love money, dude.
Pretend to be. They're a bunch of fucking douchebags who want all for themselves and none for us. And I believe those same people are behind all these fucking fake bullshit propaganda stories that are used and weaponized for narrative management. They keep people divided at each other's throats so they can run off with all the fucking resources. We do it all the time. It's still going on. So people don't know, back to what I started talking about almost fucking 20 minutes ago. Is the Iran peace deal a real deal, or is it just fake fucking more kabuki theater for everybody? There are talks inside that deal, right? And so, yes, I try to look down the rabbit hole. I try to look deeper into things. I try to see what's going on behind the scenes. You should too. It's called doing your own research, listening to your own sources, not just believing in something because they told me what to believe in. That's what to believe in next. Fucking Democrats, a lot of them fucking, oh my God, during COVID, how they just, you were told this shit and you went out and repeated it.
Dude, I had to listen to NPR.
What the fuck's going on? What's that, buddy?
I had to listen to NPR for a few days. Good God, dude. I haven't heard mainstream shit in a while. And it was like, even if it was something that like I kind of agreed with a little bit, like they'd have to like throw some weird spin on it. Like they were talking about like, I don't know, is social media harming us basically?
That's what I'm saying.
And of course, and a lot of the arguments were good, but then they're like, well, yeah, but in 2021, the Russians had a troll farm and it took over our election. So it's basically like say we need to censor the fuck out of social media. I'm like, I've got to slip that shit in there, dude. Like,
yeah. Even the left, now especially the left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It used to be the
well,
right
I don't
wing
count.
In this country.
They're not the fucking left, dude.
They're not the left, but the synthetic left in America, the one that's controlling all that NPR media, all the, dude. You know, I mean, even I work for one of them. I mean, this show Drive Time is on once a week on WBAI. It's a Pacifica radio station. I don't agree with a lot of the fucking news that's on that channel.
Pacific is like one of the milder ones. They
are, because they allow people like me to get a voice here and there. But, you know, they're not going to let me grow and get, you know, they're still going to lean on Amy Goodman in Democracy Now! Is what I'm saying, you know, who says a lot of shit that I'm like, whatever. But it always seems like there's, at the end of the day, there is this kind of form of like, you know, they're trying to fight, they're trying to stand behind culture issues, which decide whether you're right or left.
Yeah.
And they have the fear of the boogeyman from foreign entities now, Russia, all the time, that they're trying to influence. And they're not principled.
They were Russia baiting like on a bunch of shit. Like, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? That's been years. Yeah. Why are you still talking about this dumb shit?
Yeah. Because it's going to swing back around and it's going to come into play. And, you know, when the Democrats get back in and, you know,
It's just so tiring, man. It's like
it is a vicious cycle though, because there's a bunch of ideologues like, me and Fiorello have been pretty consistent about calling out Russia for what they're doing, the shit over in RT, the people running the place. You know what I'm saying? We're not
that's
just like
one of the reasons why I've
ideologues in
always
the
watched
system.
y'all.
There's a bunch of bullshit going on over there, right? That, as just as a journalist, media journalist person, I can just report on and talk about, but there's so many people that are like, no, what Russia does, they can't do no wrong. What these
Yeah, and there's
countries
a
do,
lot of people.
they're in
There's people who
socialist
do it with
countries.
China.
They can't do no wrong. Venezuela can't do no wrong. Like, that's not how it works,
No,
Josh.
no. Look, man, I don't like any government, so like I think they're all doing nefarious shit.
And
More or
then you got
less.
the people like Sleepy J and all the other truthers who like no governments whatsoever.
No,
Even
I'm
though
not.
at times, sometimes
I'm not. I'm not full anarchist anymore. Like I think there's a place for some government, but the way our power structures are, and they're just so goddamn. The people who control the government are so goddamn powerful. It's not a government. It's something different.
Well, that's something that like my good friend Derek Bros and Ryan Christian. I know they have like a kind of anti-government kind of mentality as well. And I don't want to put words in their mouths and stuff, but I mean, I think and I'm trying to get them all for discussion with Fee and Vanessa.
And at the very least, we need a lot less government, man. Like the amount of money they just piss away on dumb shit is just too much, man.
Yeah, now we're all in this.
It's all war, man. I mean, I look around my city, dude. There ain't a damn street here that doesn't have a giant pothole. Like it's just.
What are we
bad.
spending our money on? I know, right? Like it's just
not at home. That's for sure. We've got a large number of our bridges are like past or hitting end of life and shit, like expected end of life. They're supposed to be replaced, and no one's gonna replace some things until they fall.
Yeah. It seems like.
And then it takes years because they can't get their shit together for like 3 years to even start it. I mean, look at that Baltimore bridge that went down. They've built like hardly any of it back, and it's been years now.
You mean the one in Baltimore?
Yeah, the one that ship hit.
So that bridge is not even operating still?
No.
Bullshit.
No, dude. It was a while back, but yeah, they hadn't hardly built any of it. It's nuts,
dude. And
all bullshit.
You know what's so funny? That Baltimore bridge was kind of like, you really saw the ridiculousness of that. What I call the Steve Bannon right. They were actually blaming China for it. Like China did this on purpose. They blamed China for that shit. China did this on purpose, and they were getting news and blah blah blah. And it's like see how over the top these fucking QAnoners are. Like there's got to be a happy medium out there, ladies and gentlemen. Right? We can't fucking just be balls to the wall.
I will never trust information from an ambiguous, weird source that I can't fucking actually name. Like it's just bullshit.
All right, so here's what's going on, guys. How many miles from Orlando to Miami? I'm going to just put this up, right? Okay. So it's about 230 miles from Orlando to Miami. That train, it's a new fast train, takes about 3 hours, which is good if you're driving. So you're about 4 hours, so you save an hour. It's kind of cool. But that's like one of our best fucking trains. Japan, I heard, has this train that can fucking do this shit.
Like 40 minutes and shit.
40 minutes. And everybody's like, oh my God, we got the bright line. It goes so fast from South Florida and they charge ridiculous amount for it. It's like $79, $80 one way.
I'm seeing that where I'm living too, Snorky. There ain't shit, man. I've been looking for stuff for a while and there just ain't shit.
What's Snorky looking for? Give context.
It's just no jobs, man. There ain't no jobs.
But we got potholes all over the place.
Even fast food jobs, like there ain't shit.
We got potholes all over the place. So listen, here's how it goes. All right. So if there was more infrastructure jobs, let's say, in Josh's neighborhood to fix all the potholes, whatnot, they'd have to bring in all these workers who then have to be fed, housed. They got to buy new equipment, new clothes, and all those industries. Hopefully, they're small businesses.
Absolutely, Snorky. Call about trains.
Can I call in about trains? Yes. Oh my God. Okay. So it's called the Bright Line, right? The Bright Line is, and it's using the commuter railroad tracks. So do we have like a local transportation? That's called the Tri-Rail. And the Tri-Rail gets you all around. It doesn't go fast, but it's public transportation. It's pretty cheap. It's not bad. I can take anywhere from a $9 to a $12 Uber to get to the train station in Boca Raton, which is about 4 miles from my house. Then from there, it's $5 to go to the airport in Fort Lauderdale. It literally brings you to the train station that has a bus, and it's like a 4-minute bus ride. They're like 5 to 7 minute car bus rides, Uber rides from the trains to the airport. So it's really cool. That same train goes into the Miami airport, literally drops you off inside the Miami airport, which is kind of cool. The Bright Line is on the, you don't call it the commuter tracks. What do you call the other tracks?
Freight.
The freight trains. Thank you. See, you Midwestern boys. We're waiting for Snorky to call in, guys. We want you to call in. We hadn't had calls in a couple of days, so Snorky, we need you to get back on the horse and get a call in here. It's 561-247-2721. 561-247 Bernie Sanders Blackjack. That's 2721. The commuter trains, the freight trains. So the Bright Line runs on the freight train, and it goes faster than most. Now it's been blitzkrieging all around these fucking towns and killing people. I don't know if people are just drunk or committing suicide, but it has been hitting people here and there a lot more than the other ones. We got a phone caller. It's the first caller since last Wednesday. Who are you, caller? Where are you calling from?
Snorky, Iowa.
Snorky.
Yeah, we hear you.
From Iowa. All right, you got to turn down the radio, the TV, or whatever you're listening to, and just listen to the phone.
I'm in a room with nothing else but my phone.
Beautiful.
Am I muted?
No, we're here. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Oh, you're saying turn down the TV. I'm like, what? No, I'm alone.
Now you can hear us through the phone or through the phone only.
We've been making severe problems with our train systems for a year. So
okay.
When my brother was in kindergarten back in like 1964, that was the last commuter train they had out in Iowa. It shut down that day, so they took all the kindergartners out. So I never got to ride on one until I moved to Chicago. Got to ride out there. But so everybody's thinking we need high-speed trains. Yeah, we need some high-speed trains in some areas, but we need a low-speed trains. And I don't mean by low speed, I mean like 3 miles an hour. I mean like 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. A lot of time, we just need to be able to get places. A lot of our younger people do not drive cars, even out here. So they'll use Uber. We have something called Earl. It's like this small bus that comes out and picks up people and takes them around town in the mornings. But a long time ago, like in the 1880s, a town called Wuppertal, made this train system that sat above the roads instead of on the roads. It didn't go up the surface. And they said it was perfect for any place that had rivers and mountains because it drove over the river, it went downtown, and cars never had to stop for it. Passengers never had to stop for it. So it was so reliable that it mostly survived World War II's bombings. And it's been upgraded a few times. And it's a scenic little train. What really gets your opinion going is there's a couple copies of it used in Japan. So you can have high-speed trains. That's fine. People need a way to get to the high-speed trains. Now, in Miami, you're used to people all over the place. But out here, we have like 6,000 people in one town, 1,000 people in another town. And we have all these little towns. All these people need jobs. They do not have money for gas to get to a job in another town anymore. And it's a whole collapsing problem. So this train system is fantastic for that. Now, China has built one already. And like I said, they're no longer thinking of, hey, I need high-speed rail. They're thinking of, I need a rail system to get my people to the high speed rail. So I can get to the rail on the other side. I have another low speed rail system to get people out into the areas around there.
Yeah.
So I could take a high speed train from Miami up to Orlando and then go to the local. Now, this train system that they have in Wuppertal is so safe that it's had 2 accidents.
What's
So
it called?
hardly
What's
ever
the
has
town
anything
again?
crossed.
Luppertal? What's the town?
It's morning. VOL, and it's called the Schwebebahn. SCHWEBEVAN. And here we go.
We got to get some links to look at this.
Even China's starting to look at this. And I was actually looking at it, trying to find people to collaborate with to write a book on making it here in the United States. And but I wanted to do a different version of it. There's problems with just wire these days and be able to get electricity around. And we've got ways to solve that now. And but again, this train became a powerhouse for Germany to get where the iron is done. Those companies along there, they just hop on there, go on there. But the accidents they had was about 50 years ago. There was a circus in town, and somebody took an elephant on it.
Mm-hmm.
The elephant panicked and broke out through the windows and fell into the river below. The elephant survived. So that was the first major accident. They didn't realize it was not elephant safe. The second accident,
not safe for elephants.
Yeah. So the second accident that it had was about a decade ago, I believe, is that there was some construction going on beside this. Now this is elevated so that traffic can pass underneath it, no problem. Construction company was trying to save money, so instead of lowering their cranes, they just waited for the train to go by, and then they'd run through, and they mistimed it, and train's not expecting anything in its way, so it hit a crane. So that was a severe accident. And how do you plan for something that's not supposed to be there?
All right, hold on a second.
That's the kind of case.
Snorky.
Sure.
Let's turn this into a little conversation, because I think you're hitting on some cylinders over here. Because and by the way, I do agree with you. I do say high speed rail and stuff, because we really don't have one. Right? And it's just, and I don't mean that like that's the most pressing. I think that you hit a point there that's very important. We need commuter railroads to get people around. How do we get that done? How do we obtain that, more frequently? And I think that in some cases, like, I look at the tri-rail here in South Florida, it's pretty decent. Like, it can get people around, but it's really just going from city to city. It's not getting people around the city. And I would assume that in a lot of municipals or cities or counties, whatever, they would probably still kind of feed more into the bus system, where they can, burn off the alcohol and the gasoline, rather than trying to build stuff around. In other words, they'd rather build real estate, not railroads, right?
I don't know.
But I think, yeah,
I'm in the Midwest, man. There ain't no buses on Sundays.
Yeah,
it's like
there's no buses on Sundays. Jesus,
no,
whatever the case.
No bus.
Yeah, I'm sure they would find a way to not invest into railroads and make excuses for it. And then you're pointing out some important things, because that's how the discussions will go. Right now, I know they want to shut down or bankrupt Brightline, or there's talks of that behind the scenes, because and they're getting full price for their tickets too. So, like, the people who have a few bucks, they're spending the $79, $80. I was on 2 trains, one going there, it was full, and one coming back, it was full, and it was $79 each way from Boca Raton to Orlando. And people are paying that price, so they're doing that. But it keeps hitting people. People die. So that talk comes into play, right? Like, okay, you could see they built this thing as more like modern style for like greedy corporations that don't want to spend money on like employees. Like, there's not enough employees on that motherfucker. They had to make an announcement. like an hour into the train ride, and it's less than 3 hours. Hey man, we know we haven't got to you with your food and your stuff, and it's all like crap foods. Like it's the same stuff you can buy on a Spirit airline flight. All that crap, right? Like they ain't giving you anything serious. You can get a fucking turkey croissant with processed turkey, and they'll throw a bag of chips in there for fucking $13, $14, whatever it is. But they couldn't get to there. And even the way you buy tickets, there was like no fucking ticket teller. You got to do everything through the computer, through the kiosk. So you could see it was kind of like built where they don't give a shit about a lot of employees. It's not employing, in other words, not a ton of employees. You do get to a station, there's like 3 or 4 employees there. You know, there's a guy checking bags in through the machines. You have to run your stuff through the machines. It operates like a flight. Like they only let the people who have a ticket in a certain area. So yeah, you could see that being done. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of discussions within the boardrooms, within the city councils, guys, where they're going to talk about safety. You mentioned that an elephant fell off and hit a crane. Well, you know, those things are kind of exaggerated from communities that are, you know, usually a lot of times there's the opposition's kind of funding a whole movement against, you know, these people. I don't think that's the case with the data centers. I think that people are showing up and going, yo, we don't want fucking data centers here. That's organic. But when it comes to all these projects, when it comes to anything transportation wise, there's opposition. Somebody who didn't get the bid, who didn't get the contract, that's going to fund to get shit shut down, right? I mean, I know I'm talking in circles, but what I'm saying is that right now, Snorky, and I don't know how it is in Iowa, where you're at, where it's in Illinois, where Sleepy's at, there's probably some room to build some trains over there. Where I'm at in South Florida, near Boca Raton and this area, everything's built out. I wouldn't even know where they would begin to build a commuter fucking system anyways. But you are thinking with your head, you're talking about trains that are going up and above so it doesn't interfere with the roads and everything like that. Yeah, you have to shut down some roads to get some shit in there, but that's something that seems that could be accomplished in a lot of cities in America, but it's not, because here's the reason why. This long story to get to this one reason why, and I'll let you boys take it away, is that if it's something for the everyday people, right, the oligarchs, the ruling class, are not going to build it. They're not going to build high-speed rail to get us around. They're not going to build local community rail to get us around. They don't give a fuck about giving anything to the small guy. If you find a way to get to work, we're going to take kickbacks from Uber anyways. They're going to pay us off. So now you're going to have to pay Uber a lot of money to get from your to get to your bus station or your train station. And that's the way it's going to be. They're never going to give anything to us. That's why they're letting, Josh talked about, and I don't know how it is in Iowa, Josh talked about there's potholes all over his fucking town. You're talking about there's no trains over there. They're going to let these
I'm in the state capital, dude. Fuck.
They're going to let the bridges stay the way they are until they fall fucking down. Is there something to be said about that, Snork, in your mind, as a professor, as a guy who teaches shit, that this is what's going on, that we are just left out in the cold, and this is why we can't have nice things, because our rulers won't let us have them?
Yes. So expand on that a little bit. A lot of times when a rail place comes in,
yep,
it is heavily negotiated. A lot of politicians and politicians' friends, where a train station is going to go. So somebody's building a new upscale house. They're going to build it out a ways. They're going to put it by the commuter rail. So that means that they could buy the land cheap, sell it high for what's on. They're going to have things that people need to buy. They're going to have, when they put up a commuter rail station, it becomes an area builder for what's going on. But that corruption means that, hey, this town might not get one, so the next town could have a bigger one. Or, and like I said, before there was any kind of purchase, I remember when I lived out near Chicago that our congressman would typically buy all the land right before a big purchase was made. You know, it's seemingly illegal, but I wouldn't say seemingly, but it happens. But this train system I have, talking about, and again, I did not invent this. This is many years before I was born, but it dangles rather than sits on top of the train. So our trains, we're constantly hitting things on the ground. Out here in Iowa and still in Illinois, the trains are constantly hitting things. And when you put the train up, you're not only no longer hitting things, but the train hangs low. So when a normal train is on the track, it's trying to balance itself and stay on the track. If it gets too much weight on one side, it can actually derail, and this happens all the time. They need to go out and they need to snowplow. Now, when they snowplow after a big storm, it's just horrendous. Now, this train that's never needs to snowplow, and this train system that's built here is built in the ones that is in Japan is an extremely built up area, and because of the way this train is put up, I'll have to send you some links to it tonight. But the way it's built, they put it in extremely congested areas, and
we got to pull something up on this system. Can we pull something up? Can you spell it again? Because yeah.
WERPPERTAL.
Say it.
Okay, WUPPERTAL is the town, and it's called Schwebebahn, and it's spelled SCHE. Or no, SCH.
I'm getting confused. You got me all over the place, Snorky.
Hold on.
Double E, double P,
I'll
carry the 2, the tree.
I'm sorry. I just woke up.
No.
It's German. It's German.
Snorky's got to get his coffee. By the way, guys, we're talking some trains real quick right now. 561-247-2721. 561-247-2721. This is episode 16, I believe, of Drive Time in the Mornings, guys. We started this about 3 weeks ago. We had a couple days last week. We had no phone lines because there was a tornado that kind of wiped it out. There it is. Wuppertal. Yeah. So they built these in very congested areas. I see.
And the one in Japan is in an extremely congested area, going from Tokyo to not Osaka. I forgot the name of the town that's on the
So
ocean.
you're saying there's ingenuity,
it's
there's engineering. Area. Wait a second. There's ingenuity, there's engineering. The fact that the place is congested, like my neighborhood, we can still build shit and move it around. It's possible. They've done it. They've seen it. Very safe. And I put up a tweet. I put up somebody's comment. Was talking about why the Chinese, right? Talking about the Chinese building all this. Here it is. The Chinese said it best. They built 45,000 miles of fast track, not for profit, but because the people need it, right? And we talk about this all the time. People are like, oh, my God, China, they're authoritarian. They're just overbearing, watching, and it's a spy state and whatnot. And yet they're building shit for their citizens to get them around, move them around, and we can't have nice things. And what you're saying, Snorky, is that it's been tested, tried, and true. It can be done. It's just a matter of will to get it done. Go ahead, Snork.
Yeah. World War II bombers couldn't even take it out. And the next thing is, what do they have in Japan and China that are really severe? Some of the most severe earthquakes on the planet. Most trains derail during an earthquake. Now, Japan's really good about bringing their trains to a stop if they feel waves coming. But the areas where this is already in Japan, they can handle like an 8.0 earthquake without derailing because of the train dangles. All of its weight is concentrated on staying on the rails, whereas in our trains that we have, we sit on the rails and hope that nothing goes wrong with the rails.
Yeah, the majority of the train technology that we have is from the 1970s out here, isn't it? I mean, I see some of these freight trains. It's like, I mean, it's ridiculous at this fucking point, right? I mean, it's like, holy shit. And it took Ohio. What was it? Lebanon? What was the town in Ohio that had the spill?
East Palestine.
East Palestine, Lebanon. Yeah. There is a Lebanon somewhere out there in the Midwest too.
Oh yeah, there's all
East
kinds
Palestine
of
to pull it in. Snork, give us your final words on what's going on too as well. We're gonna hit the phone line.
Like I said,
yeah,
just the building of it would put so many people back to work.
Yeah,
we need some emphasis on things that get us back to work, and all of our money seems to be going over to the Mideast or to Ukraine, and nothing's going to help the United States. Thanks. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
But wait 1 second. I got one last question. Wait, one last question. You can talk to me more, but take this question with you. Yes, the building of the trains will put people back to work because there will be a whole industries built around feeding, transportation, clothing, all that other stuff, tools to help those people get back to work. Say if we were building the I want to say it properly. If we were building the
It's German. Good luck.
the whatever train system. At the end of the day, though, doesn't there have to be a long-term factories and stuff? Like, in other words, NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, moved a lot of industries out of the country. Wouldn't we need to get back to something like that at the end of the day, that there needs to be full-time jobs, long-term jobs for people to be moving around? We don't want to have a train system where nobody's working to jobs, and now we have a train system just sitting because there's no jobs for people to go to. So don't we have to change the core of that as well?
I completely agree. To me, this should be our number one, what we consider defense spending. Our number one defense spending should be bringing back tools. Everything we need to make things, we should be making here. Everything we need to make our products, we should be making here. We shouldn't be having things just moving back and forth across the ocean. And single trade war, single event, even a hurricane can disrupt for months. What we had, the earthquake that hit Japan a while back, 2011, it actually shut down in the United States production of pickup trucks for like 8 months because of parts we couldn't get from Japan. And we need to go back to what we had up until 1984, where we had factories that were paid by the Defense Department to make sure that they could switch over from making tractors. This is Waterloo, Iowa, John Deere. They always maintain the stock where in 24 hours they could switch over from tractors to making tanks. And we had all kinds of facilities like this around. The Rockford area out by Chicago used to be a hub for machine tools and screws and nuts. In fact, if you were in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, almost within a 200-mile radius, almost anything you needed to build, you could find it out there. And all of those factories are down. When those shut down, it was just horrible. And nobody ever talked about all those people who never got decent jobs again.
Case study, right? Like, it was during World War II where they said, all right, we can see if we can turn an industry, a whole society, communities into making bombs and missiles and all this stuff. And it worked. And they just continue to fucking piggyback on that rather than saying what Snorky just said. We don't need to move shit from ocean to ocean all the time. I mean, yeah, there could be some stuff coming in that all these other countries make that we don't necessarily need to make here. But the majority of our stuff we used to make here, and we can go back to doing that again, being self-reliant and putting people back to work. But you know what, Snork? Then you got to pay an American a wage. You don't want to do that, right? You don't want to do that. You just
realistically
rather propagandize them to think socialism is bad. And, you know, workers have no rights. They can't seize the means of production. You keep buying cheap shit that's made in Vietnam, Cambodia, and all these other countries, Snork.
Realistically, I used to have to do those calculations. It really wasn't much. Most of the advantages were political. The people got paid money to move the factories. A lot of the companies at first objected to wanting to have to move to Mexico. And it just got to be the point where all of a sudden everybody was just moving over in mass. And a lot of what happened was people that don't do their own thinking would read magazines and they'd pick up, hey, the thing to do to save money is to make it in Mexico. But again, you know, the prices of transportation were much cheaper when basically the decision was made to go to Mexico. Now, the price of fuel and transportation outweighs the cost of what you're paying your employees. And we're importing.
I think a lot of it too,
not just
good,
not just from China, but we're importing stuff from countries that have higher wages than us.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it was about killing small businesses too, as well, right? You know, Like they didn't want small businesses.
Yeah.
They don't want.
Not
They
only
don't
small
want to be
businesses.
independent. Yeah.
A lot of the businesses that got affected most were from areas where the people that were in power wanted to change the demographics of what the voting people were.
Interesting. That conversation still
well.
goes on to this day now, because now it's like who does. Well, I don't want to start a different conversation about who immigrants would vote for, or who they're trying to say illegal immigrants they would vote for and stuff. They're trying to make it sound like they bring them in and they'll vote Democrat no matter what, and that's not the truth, because they're very religious. A lot of the people coming in, but that's a whole different conversation. Snorky, call in tomorrow.
Yep.
We'll have Nico House here, so call on in tomorrow. We appreciate you calling in, Snork.
Bye.
You got it, buddy. Snorky, first caller back in 3 shows. We had a couple shows we didn't have any calls ins because our engineer, co-host, handsome man extraordinaire, Sleepy J, was stuck in tornado weather, knocking everything out. No goods and services. The poor kid ate cat food because he was out of food.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we got to go.
We got another caller. Caller, who are you? Where you calling from?
Professor.
I'll let you do that then. You do the caller, who you call, or where you call from. You do it.
I already know who it is. It's the professor for boy.
All right.
Message has been transcribed. What?
Oh,
that don't sound like the professor. That sounds like the professor.
Kevin?
Professor.
Yes, hello.
Congratulations, you're a champion, a New York Knicks champion. You are, sir, like me.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yes. Well, that was a mighty good feeling, man. It took the Rangers 54 years. It only took the Knicks 53 years. I was only 5 when they won last time, so I don't really remember, but
the year I was born.
Man. Yeah, man. It was a scene, let's put it that way, bro. Everybody was, it's a beautiful thing to see, just a little optimism, like just how New York is, like everybody's in a rush, everybody's mad at something. I was just in a supermarket and everybody was so polite to each other.
They're happy. They're just happy right now. Yeah.
The rare New York experience.
Yeah, man. It was
They're
really
happy.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And it's a good character team, so that's kind of fun. You got to like these kids. You got to root for these kids. A lot of people are rooting for Jalen Brunson, right? He's too small. Yeah. He's too slow. Kid was picked 33rd in the draft, and he had more 30-point games than Jordan did ever in his run. He had the most 30-point games in a playoff run ever. The Knicks were 16-3 on this run. They lost 2 games by a point each. They could have won each one of those games. They lost the other game by 4 points, I think it was, or less than 4, maybe, whatever. They were in every single game. They blew out teams. The point differential for a playoff. And in this series, they won the first game by double digits, 10. It was tie game with 2 minutes left. And every other game was close. So in this finals, these games were a lot closer, even though the Knicks won 4-1. But they were down every single game, double digits in this series, and they won every single 4 out of 5 games. Just amazing, just fantastic. I think the New Yorkers beating up some of the San Antonio Spurs fans really kind of shaped out what we're going to see now in the last couple of days. I think you're going to see New Yorkers out there calling out other New Yorkers who are going to try to fucking vandalize or whatever. They're going to kind of police their own. That's what New York's about.
Well, if it bleeds, it leads, man. I got to tell you, and I'm going to make a prediction. All right. Now that there'll probably be arrests on Thursday during the thing, but I'm going to make a prediction. It's going to be a love fest, man. Because I was at a place within walking distance of my like my local pub, basically, and I had never seen it so crowded. Because right before you had the Brazil, the FIFA Cup, like there was a lot going on.
Yeah,
and it was just wall to wall. And even when the even when the San Antonio went up in the beginning, like nobody was panicking. Everybody was like, yeah, this is the way it's supposed to go. Like they're the Juan Valdez team, you know, like they need to get into like, you know, they need to get to the second, you know, they need to get to the halftime and have that coffee. You know what I mean? And like,
Well,
you know,
you know what? We kind of laugh about that, but that's something that in sports, if it's not scripted, right? If it's for the people out there, some people are like, what are you talking about this shit, bread and circuses? But I mean, even Fiorella was like really cool to me about it. And, you know, she obviously looks at a lot of sports as bread and circuses, but you know, it's if it's not scripted and it's real, it's just, once again, it's a team that has no quit. They are the American dream. They're going to grind you out. They're going to eventually catch you, and they're going to beat you. The San Antonio Spurs, you look at them on paper, their core, this guy Wembanyama, they call him the alien, 7'6". He's 22. They got Ron Harper's son, who they just signed over, you know, second person in the draft. He is 20. Their other guy, Stephon Castle, 20, right? They have this young team, and they're energetic, and they play above the rim, and they come out and they hit you, boom, boom, boom. But then the Knicks, slow and steady, experienced, not as athletic, right? Not as talented, but smarter, harder. You know, what a lot of New Yorkers would embolden about themselves for many years. We're just a New York blue-collar team. They're going to outwork you, and at the very end, they're going to catch you at the end. And when the gun sounds, they're going to be up, and they're going to beat you, right? I mean, that's how this series went. The playoffs, they were destroying fucking people, right? There was like, they won games by 30. They won a game by 40-something odd points in the playoffs. That's like fucking unheard of.
Yeah.
They won like 3 games by 30 points in the playoffs. I mean, they destroyed everybody. But the
of
way they
time
won the
that they did it
series,
too. Yeah.
what's that?
And then the amount of time they did it too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
They were
behind.
16-3. Yeah. There were times in the playoffs, twice, they didn't play a game in 8 days. Twice that happened.
Right.
They swept Philadelphia. They had to wait 8 days for the other teams to wrap up the play. They swept the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had to wait 8 days to play in the fucking finals as they were. They're the only team in history in basketball since they had to play 4 series. 3 of the series they played teams that were coming off a full 7-game series. Then they played Philadelphia. Philadelphia beat the Celtics in 7 games. They beat the Cavaliers. Beat the Detroit Pistons in 7 games, and San Antonio beat Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games. So they're the only team in history, right? I don't want to get too down the basketball hole, but anyways, they were known as the blue collar, nut and bolts, good character guys, working really hard. So it's kind of cool to see this team win. I believe there will be a love fest too as well. It was a pretty good distraction to get away from all the bullshit and the war and everything that's going on. And you had to root for these kids. So anyways, I want to leave it at that. I don't want to go too much into that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. And you know what? I got to tell you something. I mean, I'm with you with the bread and circuses and stuff, or Fiorella. Well, especially that UFC fight, you know, which I actually missed, but turned out to be I was a judo guy for a lot of years. So, you know, I'm interested in that stuff. I don't follow it like I used to, but all 7 fights, I think, finished in a TKO. But I have to tell you, I'll tell you a really quick story. You know, sports, the thing about sports, I think, with Americans is that we don't know what's going on in the halls of power. You know, like we don't know what's going on in the Pentagon. You know, the old saying, how do you know when a politician's lying? When his lips are moving, right? And the thing with sports is that we understand the rules, you know, like we understand what's going on. Like we know the rules, and, you know, and so it's something that we kind of latch on to. This is many years ago, actually. The Rangers were in the playoffs, and I was doing what I really wanted to do with my life, you know. And I was talking to one of the they had like a question and answer, and they had Glenn Anderson, who was Ranger during '94, and I said, you know, I grew up about as cynical a Brooklyn kid as you can be, you know. He was like, that's pretty cynical, you know. And I was like, I got to tell you though, when the Rangers won the Cup in '94, I was like, you know what? If they can win that, if after 54 years they can win the Cup, why can't I do what I want to do? And I think that, and he said, you know, and they were actually, I think they were kind of like tears coming from his eye. He goes, you know, that's what sports is really all about. And I'm thinking about all these young kids and all these kids that have dreams, and they look at the Knicks, and every year they stick with them, you know, like a Met fan, you know what I mean? You know, and they did it. And, you know, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a small percentage of people who are going to be like, you know what? I can do it too. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I can pursue my dream.
Jalen Brunson is a guy that's going to make you say, if he can do it, anybody can do it. He's going to tell you out there he had to work hard. Jalen Brunson's father is one of the coaches on the team, right? Rick Brunson. And he played for the Knicks, but he was one of those guys who can just barely make the league, right? Like he was a third stringer. Right. He wasn't like he didn't get drafted. He probably played overseas. He did, I think, when Jalen Brunson was born in the States, his father was playing overseas. But the way he raised his son, right? He worked him hard. And there's those scenes where you see Jalen Brunson. He's like a 12-year-old kid, and he's out there dribbling, and his father's telling him, now go, shoot at the line, go. He goes, when you're tired, you got to dig deep. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like pushing this kid. And this kid didn't have like all the athletic, extras that a lot of some of these kids have. Like when you look at, these athletes, especially basketball. Basketball is one of those sports where it's about athletics, right? They might play football. A lot of kids in high school have a choice that are going to be a sports player. Do I play basketball? Do I play football? If you're going to be playing basketball and you want to play on the pro level, there's not that many people on a team, and not too many people get drafted. In football, they draft there's 40 guys on a squad. Basketball is a little bit different. So the room is a lot smaller to fit in for basketball, but it's the better athletes. It's the guys who can run fast, jump hard, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff. That's what basketball is all about. Jalen Brunson wasn't one of those top kids, but you see the pictures of his father working him hard, whatnot. And, he would even, people would say he got drafted 33rd, guys. Most of your players who win, who are your MVPs, are your top 5 players, some top 10. Maybe there's a few right outside the top 10. This guy got drafted in the 2nd round. And people are going to see him, look at him. He works hard. He puts it all in, and they're going to say, if Jalen Brunson can do this and can win in New York, they haven't won in 53 fucking years. So can I. You're right. This is inspiring here. And I'm looking forward to Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, the 3 kids who went to Villanova. I'm interested to what they have to say, what's going on socially and politically more. They've been keeping their heads to the grindstone. It's all about basketball. As things die down and whatnot, and more attention comes to you, more questions will come to you now, right? We all knew what Kyrie Irving's stance was on the vaccine. We all knew what Kyrie Irving said when he was upset in the press conference, that he was upset that there were Palestinians getting bombed, right? And then we have all these other people talking about Israel this, Israel that. I've said NBA has a Zionist problem. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these guys have to say, because they're going to give you more microphones in front of them now. So it is very interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off there, pal. Go, please continue.
No, you. I mean, everything you were saying, I mean, I agree with. I mean, traditionally in New York City, basketball was embraced by not the Zion, but the Jewish community, like
Catskill Mountains.
What I mean? And it's interesting because what you were saying, because if you're athletic, like you just have an athletic build, you're just like an athletic guy. There's 50 spots. Like on a football team, you can be a long snapper, and that's all you do. You know what I mean? Like, you can make that team. But like teams like role playing teams, like I the ones that come to mind for me are hockey and basketball, but baseball too, to an extent. But you can find your place. And I mean, God, I mean, this is way before my time and stuff, but you look at like the films of like Bob Cousy and stuff like that. He was like this little guy, you know, and he was just like, you know, dribbling through all these people, you know. It was, you know, you always kind of have those kind of underdogs to root for, you know. Even if
The
they're
Knicks
not
have
from
them
your-
too, right? They have Jose Alvarado.
Yeah.
We talked about the core of the Villanova kids, but it was also the way they kind of brought in these kids that are so connected to the community. Jose Alvarado played in New York, grew up in New York, Puerto Rican kid, big cat. They made the trade for him, Carl Anthony
He was
Towns,
at the
Dominican
parade
kid,
yesterday.
played in New York, whatnot.
Yep.
So the Latino community is even plugged into this team with the extra pieces they brought around it. I mean, this team is like, it's storybook. It really, I mean, I know I'm a Knicks fan, but this really is a magical team. And if it's
You
bread and
imagine
circus,
how
if it's
hungover
fake,
he was.
yeah.
And he was at the Brooklyn Puerto Rican Day Parade yesterday too, you know. And
Jose Alvarado
represented, man.
Yeah.
The kid who was born and raised here.
Jose Alvarado. You saw him dancing with a
and Puerto Rican and Dominican. Yeah.
He's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
He's small. And the thing is that very interestingly enough, he got some playing time in the finals. He didn't get much playing time throughout the playoffs. He's his backup. He went in here and there. But in one of the games when the Knicks were down in game 4 the other day, when they were down by 27 points, the coach put him in. They're like, all right, you're going to be in with Jalen Brunson. We need speed. We need to catch up. We're down. We need to hurry up. And he wanted to get a guy who could control the ball away from Jalen Brunson so he wasn't getting hounded. So he put him in together, and he was a big part of that comeback, Jose Alvarado. They call him Grand Theft Alvarado because he's a guy who steals the ball in very unique ways. And it's hard to explain.
The way they were moving that ball, man, was pretty amazing. Now, okay, so
back to war.
The rest of the country is bored with the conversation. What do you call it? Listen, I'm gonna throw something at you, and I've kind of had a change of heart towards like AOC. You know,
what?
When she first went in there, when she first got in there, and I was like, look, I want to know who wants universal health care.
Mm-hmm.
Put that stuff up. Make.
She campaigned on it. She campaigned on it.
Put it up to a vote. Put it up to a vote and make
force the vote.
Stand up and say I'm for it or I'm against it, so we know what's up. Now, I was like watching what her voting record, and now you can correct me because I might be wrong, but like with Israel, she voted to give them like Iron Dome, but it was all.
She changed her vote on the Iron Dome.
Sorry?
She changed her vote on the Iron Dome. There's a famous piece for voting against funding, giving extra funding. Then they go for another round of votes. Nancy Pelosi goes up to her, says some stuff, and she changes her vote, and she cries about it.
Yeah.
Like that, it's pretty famous, whatnot of her. But please continue.
But yeah, the reason I want to continue is because I don't know if you're paying attention in New York politics, but there are a lot of DSA members running for higher office, like Congress and whatnot. And I'm starting to think, maybe she was thinking a little strategic, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to do the least because what they're going to do is they're going to turn me into Ralph Nader and they're just going to shut me up. They're going to shut me down and they're going to, I'm just going to become persona non grata. So I'm going to go along to get along a little bit. But now you're starting to see, and not only on the so-called left, but on the so-called right too. Israel is not a popular topic right now. As a matter of fact, I heard that AIPAC has broken down their, it's not just AIPAC. Like they're parceling it out into like instead
other
of just
pieces,
being one
other groups,
pack, they're going to make like 5 packs out of it. You know what I mean? Because they know they're losing the PR war, and there's just no defense for it. And even I would hate to see people like Blazarian and Candace Owens get the credit for it. And I don't want to be overly optimistic.
Why would you hate to see that? Why would you hate to wait? Why would you hate to see Candace Owens and Dan Bilzerian get the credit for it?
Because of their
anti-Semitic way.
What I can see, no, from what I can see, they're kind of with that. This is a Christian nation, and I'm 100% against. Yeah. You know, I'm 100% for the separation of church and state. As a matter of fact, I think the business, like I think that churches should be taxed, and the businesses owned by the churches should be taxed. You know, and I just don't. I'm not with it. You know, and I'm speaking as an Irish Catholic, and even though I'm not like a believer. You know, I was baptized. I still consider myself one. I like Pope Frankie. I like Pope Leo.
Well,
you know,
also too, Professor, let me just piggyback on that too, as well, is that this is all allegory, right? And any of these Abrahamic religion or any religion for that matter, if you want to use it and practice it, all to it. But I can't stand the fact when you hear Candace Owens go on these interviews on political shows and say, I'm a Christian first, and I'm not going to be, and I'm unapologetic about it. Like, why are you even telling us that? Your religion doesn't belong in our fucking politics. End of fucking story. You cannot live in the stomach. Yes, exactly. You know? I mean, with the whole Israel Christianity, Mike Huckabee, Rubio, Ted Cruz, the way they're kind of weaponizing the whole situation too, as well. You know what I'm saying? But you can't live inside.
There is, really.
Yeah. You can't live, and they're Christians. You can't live in, and it also too, there's no accountability from them. They kind of make it, they're the ones who make you believe that Israel's pulling all the strings and the United States is captured by them and they're just victims and stuff. That's so you don't have to hold any accountability against the capitalist, the crony capitalism we have over here and the fascism that has now taken place. That they don't want to hold their own country accountable for that. They'd rather blame Israel and the anti-Christians, right? I hear you. You can't live inside the stomach of a whale for 2 days, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, you take your religion and you don't get it involved with our politics. You want to do it, you do it, but I get it, and that's why, and I think that's very important.
But, you know, I mean, that's the power of religion, isn't it? I mean, look, both the slaves and the slave masters were able to read out of the same book and justify their position. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I do want to stay on the AOC thing because go ahead. So the question is, and that, you know, and so many people are putting, is AOC genuine? I see people laughing in the chat. AOCIA, that's what I like to call her too. Is it genuine fraud? It's where she's not been, right? That's the important thing. She hasn't been where she needs to be. You're kind of questioning, saying maybe she was laying low, so therefore she could, you know, get things done because she would have been taken out if she was too far over the top. I don't know, because, you know, Thomas Massey just finally got taken over the top, and he's been a lot more vocal than what it is. But here's the thing. She went in under the conditions, Professor, where she said, I'd rather be a one-term candidate that goes and pushes and gets things done rather than a long-term, you know, lifer in Congress that gets nothing done, that just adapts and adjusts. She's gone to being the long-term lifer who adjusts and adapts just to stay in office. That's not what we put her there for. There was an agreement, right? You go in there, you push for things we want. She ran on Medicare for all, healthcare for all, right, as a human right. Now, I know there's a lot of things that we can talk about when it comes to that situation, when it comes to our healthcare system, which in reality is a sick care system. And do you want to put more money into that system, or do you have to disassemble it, whatever? I believe, though, when you stick to the point, and even though Bernie Sanders says it, his actions don't meet up with his words. Healthcare is a human right. If we're going to have taxes, right, and there's a whole other argument from libertarians that we shouldn't have taxes at all, just do away with yada, 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 whatever. When you have taxes, or if new money that is created is appropriated for something, we should stop fucking sending it overseas to drop bombs. We need to spend that money over here. I don't want the government telling me what healthcare I should have. I just want them to pay for it and shut the fuck up. She went in under those conditions. I was in D.C. for this Force the Vote rally. A few of us, less than 100 of us, gathered at the halls in Congress, outside the buildings of Congress, to push her to say, you forced the fucking vote. This is what we put you here for, therefore you do it, right? So because of that one specific, simple fucking issue, which she campaigned on more than anything, that she did nothing for, zero for, I will never trust her on anything else, ever. And her fucking attitude, like every other fucking Democrat, towards Russia. And here's the thing, Profess, you Kev, I don't got a Vladimir Putin shirt, right? I'm not an ideologue. I'm not praising Russia for what's going on, but I can separate the fact of what the fuck's going on in this Russia-Ukraine war and understand that empire is still the problem here, right? All these Democrats, these new Democrats, even the new one, Graham Plattner, what the fuck is that his name? The new guy? Everybody's like, oh my God, they got this new progressive running from Maine. Whatnot. What did he say the fucking other day? I think Ukraine is a sovereign country that has a right to fight himself against. No, you are lying. She is part of that whole fucking clan that is supposed to tangle with our emotions to get us on board, to get us out to the polls, to get support again for the progressives who's going to fight for the everyday worker and the people who need basic health care. She's going to fight, right? No, she's there to get you involved emotionally while she does not deliver. We still haven't gotten fucking ugats from all those things that she said she's going to give us, right? We haven't even gotten a vote. We haven't gotten a voice. We got bullshit with that stuff. Yet she's still supporting all the fucking Ukrainian and Democrat wars, right? That the Democrats love to fucking push and go on with. She is a fucking fraud. I will never trust that woman. And we got to be careful at the time. But Professor, these are the conversations we need to have right now. This one right here, as the Democrats are coming back in, right? Looking good. Here you had your Donald Trump, you had your fucking bullshit. We told you. Now you got to vote for us. Most people will buy into that. Well, you got to pick a team. I'm going to pick the Democrats. Here they come. These are the conversations that need to be had about AOC and ones like her. Gavin Newsom needs to be had, my friend. Yeah, but if you'd like to elaborate on why you think that maybe this is the long game she's playing, right? If you want to elaborate on that, let's do that. But
well, I have to admit, I don't remember her. I mean, she very well could have said, but I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday either. So, but I don't remember her saying, "I'd rather be a one term," because
she said that. She definitely said
suicide. That. But I will say, and I think, as you know, and I think all the listeners know, the candidacy, when you're running, that's poetry. When you're in office, that's prose. And you don't know, see, I was outraged too, because that was my issue, but you look at you like someone like me or you, if tomorrow, we just got drafted, like people are like, no, you gotta run. And we're going to say the exact same things you were just saying. But once you get them, man, and it's not to overstate the, well, maybe it is. It's a pure bureaucracy. And I worked on a micro level. I worked in Rikers Island. Yes. My job was falsifying documents. That's what I did all day. That's what all of them do all day. Because if they were locking cats and dogs up on Rikers Island, PETA would have had that, or whatever, the ASPCA would have had that stuff shut down many years ago. and that's not to say that there are people, listen, there are some bad people on, there are people you do not want on the street on that island. But at the same time, it's something that we all have to kind of wrestle with, that cognitive dissonance. And I brought that up because I knew it would get you. I knew it would get you going.
We're going to need you to. Sorry, we do have somebody in the queue, and I want to get to them, but I want you to call back in tomorrow, let's talk a little bit more about this too as well, because it's going to be interesting. I've been wanting to have these conversations about picking a team. You know, I started this channel, Kevin, when I called you and talked to you about it. Like, I want some normies to call in that feel that they're trapped in the system where they have to pick a team. There are friends of mine I went to school. My friend John Alexander, I hope he calls in, where he's, you know, obviously he can't stand the Trump thing. He's a black man, you know, and he feels that the Republicans are more racist than the Democrats. They show it at times. These are interesting conversations to be had, but I want you to call back tomorrow. We'll talk more about this, because I know that there's people who say you got to opt out of the whole system, the voting system, but at the end of the day, they're going to pick people, right, that are going to represent us no matter what, and we have to have some type of say for it. So,
I mean,
you know?
but I'll just end on this: is that, I mean, the biggest party in the United States is the non-voter. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I've told you, half my buddies, you know, who are in the trades or in civil service or whatever, you know, they're all like, it ain't gonna fucking make any difference, man. You know,
Yeah, I
they're
know. They
all
say that all the time.
fucking corrupt. They're all crazy. But this is what we're living with. You know what I mean? And you know, I would I agree. I'll call back tomorrow and we'll.
Kev, I love you. The
more
professor, you're here. He'll call back tomorrow. We'll have some more conversation. Two cheeks of the
Thank
same ass, taking turns, assigning responsibility for the stink coming out of the center. The dark hole never changes, Kev. That's what somebody said.
Right.
Love you, brother.
All right, brother.
All
Love
right,
you.
man. Peace. The professor. We got another caller in the queue still. Hopefully they're still hanging, or did we lose them?
We'll know in a few seconds. Here.
This system sucks. We don't know who's in there or nothing.
Yeah, I've got to get on that. I got derailed with the power thing.
We got a lot of things to do. I got a list for you, Josh. I hope you have a list for me, because I have a list of stuff I got to do too.
I've got my list going too.
I know, right? We got a list. Nobody's there, huh? We just rushed the professor off the phone and nobody's even there. Still there?
Nobody
Nobody?
a chance.
Nobody there?
Calling in? Nope, not yet.
All right, guys, if you want to call in, let's take the AOC genuine down, put the number back up if we can. Guys, give us a call, 561-247-2721. That's 561-247-2721. If you called and you were in the queue and you're waiting too long, we are sorry. Call back in right now. We'll get you on 123. The phone lines are open. The takes are hot. And the New York Knicks and Carolina Hurricane, they're champions.
And just a note for everyone out there, if you're having trouble getting through, like you're in the queue for a long time, you can send us a text and we can call you back. So we're working out this system. We're gonna make it the best damn system out there. We're gonna get a better system so we can.
I gotta get Josh the big
better.
phone with all the buttons he can press, like old school. You know.
Do you remember that infomercial where they had it was like one of the old heavy ass phones and they had like a headset that you like you stuck the big ass phone to and put it on your head, dude. It was.
I don't remember that.
Dude, I gotta find it and send it to you. It's so bad. It looks ridiculous. It's just like this giant rotary looking phone hanging off your head, man. It's
crazy. 561-247-2721. That's 561-247-2721. We talked about trains today with Snorky. We talked about AOC with the professor. We've been talking about the Russia-Ukraine war. We talked about Ron Paul. We talked about Tatiana Moroz out there. We talked about my boy Tommy T. I don't know where Michael Imperio is at.
We did have a question earlier.
Oh, shit. All right. Did you cover DeSantis signing an order to mandate Florida taxpayer funds going to subsidize high-risk Israeli bonds for about 6 months ago? We did talk about that. I talked about that on one of my shows. DeSantis provided guns and weapons to the Israeli from Florida. I don't know how we were talking about that. Like, this guy is a pro-hardcore Zionist, and people have been ignoring that. And once again, when you start demonetizing and censoring people on the behest of one country, you know, and once again, too, Fred, Sleepy, I think a lot of this is out in the public because they want you to hate Israel. They want you to blame Israel, while a certain group of people that sits behind the Zionist that's making a ton of money, gets to walk free, right?
I mean,
In other words,
I blame
let's
us too. We're supplying the weapons, man.
yeah. Well, the whole thing is that let's say they make some moves and like, all right, we're going to throw AIPAC out. We're going to throw all the Israeli lobbies out. We're going to cut off their nuts. We're no longer going to fund them. That's it. Boom. People were like, okay, we're back to normal now. No, we're
Nah,
not. What about
you're
our?
just gonna have packs popping up under shell packs and all kinds of shit. And
Yeah,
hiding it
but
better.
what I'm saying is that there's still a whole apparatus that has been furthering empire on this planet for a long, long time. And when I say empire, it's they just want a small group to own the majority of the resources. That shit's been going on for a while. It's not going to change. It's not just Israel that's pulling those strings. There are
No.
other people sitting behind that mechanism, and that will
let's
take
not
you
forget the
over.
bankers, man.
Well, yeah, they'll blame Jewish people for that too, though.
Please, man. There's all kinds of non-Jewish bankers. They all worship green. So
Well, you got the whole
it doesn't
Catholic
matter.
Church apparatus, right? The Vatican. You have that too as
I
well.
mean, fuck, they were a whole ass government for a lot of years. So, you know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they controlled a big chunk of the world. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
and, you know, they were just as fucking corrupt, I'm sure.
Guys,
Still are, probably.
we got 25 more minutes left. You can call on in 561-247-2721. We're talking New York Knicks, Carolina Hurricanes. We've been talking wars. What's up, pulling the strings? The bankers who happen to be Zionists. Well, you know, like I said, they just pretend to be Zionist. Well, they're Zionists. They just pretend to be Jewish. They're not really Jewish. The Christians who are dropping the bombs are not really Christian, right? They say they are. They're Krynos, Christians in name only.
I mean,
Gynos.
just
Kynos.
remember, there's more Christian Zionists than Jewish Zionists. So,
You know, I try to find
keep that in mind.
actual statistics on that. It's hard to find that, but
Dude, a lot of Christians I know and have known through the years, they believe that shit.
yeah.
They want to bring on the damn Armageddon. It's not just they believe in it. They think it's their duty to fucking bring it on. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's not a thing. You know, in the Bible, like it says you don't know the time, the place, you know, whatever. Like it's dumb.
Guys, you can listen in while you're waiting.
I did like the professor's comment about, you know, you had the same people, you know, the slave owner and the slave reading the same book and
The same book.
justifying their position.
Justifying the same book.
So that's kind of the power of religion in general.
Yeah. Guys, call on in. We need a call at 561-247-2721. You know, I've been talking to myself most of the whole show. I need your help. Call on in. Let's have a conversation. A lot of stuff going on. I'm going to piggyback on it real quickly. Did you take a look at the 14 clauses that are now supposedly in the peace deal, right?
I did a little bit of catching up the last few days, and as far as I can tell, it's pretty similar to what they had a couple weeks ago. So,
well, Iran had the same request or the same clauses, and here they are. And this is reported by Mech News, has released a short version of the 14 clauses of the MOU that will be signed on Friday between Iran and the U.S. Supposedly they're doing it in Switzerland, I believe, on Friday. It's like they're signing peace agreements. The permanent and immediate halt of war on all fronts, including Lebanon, right? Including Lebanon. One of the biggest concerns that I had is that the Iranians were going to strike a deal, and unfortunately, Lebanon and Gaza were going to be left out in the cold, and that really made me scared because I didn't want to see these people left behind. Two, a U.S. commitment not to interfere in Iran's internal affairs and to respect the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran. No more paying off the Mossad, no Iran-Contra scandals, no funding oppositions. Leave it alone. Get out and don't be involved. 3, the complete lifting of the naval blockade within 30 days. All right, you got some time. Move some shit around. Get your blockade done, which is not even really a hardcore successful blockade. They're just picking up shit a little bit here and there, but they want it done. A U.S. commitment to withdraw its forces from the areas surrounding Iran. Does that mean How far is that? Can they still have a base in Jordan? Does that mean Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, right? The UAE.
Well, I mean, this
do they have to
isn't
pull out of these
peace
areas? They have to
agreement.
close these bases?
You got to remember, these are just on points that basically are going to have to be negotiated when it gets signed. I mean, this isn't like a full on peace deal like Trump tries to say. No, it's an MOU. It's these are the points that we want to negotiate on. That's it.
The reopening of the Strait of Hormuz within 30 days under Iranian arrangements, the suspension of oil sanctions, petrochemical products and derivatives, and Iran's full access to the financial proceeds from them. They're talking about lifting up global sanctions and stuff that's been on them for years, right? They're pretty much that. They're saying we want to get plugged into the global economy and you can't fuck with us no more. The requirement for the U.S. and its allies to present reconstruction plans for Iran worth at least $300 billion. And I heard they're going to release a bunch of money beforehand, like right now. So if they don't even get some funds before they get to the table, that this shit's not going to work. 60 days of negotiation. This is number 8 to reach a final agreement based on nuclear issues and the complete lifting of primary and secondary U.S. sanctions, as well as the UN Security Council resolutions and the resolutions of the IAEA Board of Governors, which sounds to me like we're going to have a nuclear program and you're not going to fucking tell us what to do anymore. So get the fuck out of here. Iran's reiteration of its commitment under the NPT not to produce nuclear weapons. In other words, they'll be like, hey, man, we said this before. We'll say it again. We said we were not going to create a nuclear weapon. Ayatollah Khamenei, who you killed on the fucking first day, was strongly committed to that for religious reasons. No nuclear weapons, but nuclear enrichment for power, to energize, to give grandma, running water and lights, all that stuff we're going to do, and you're not going to fuck with us. We'll let you come in and take a look. During the negotiation period, the U.S. is committed not to add its forces in the region and not to impose any new sanctions. So, like they said before, they're not allowed to hang around the area. They got to get out of there. No more new stuff. No more moving your Navy around. No more bullshit. You're out. The release of $24 billion of Iran's frozen funds during the 60-day period of final negotiations. Half of this amount must be made available to Iran before the negotiation begins. So $12 billion. Somebody got to cut a check to Iran for $12 billion in frozen funds before Friday. Otherwise, no deal. We might get to the whole table again, Josh, and it might be off, and more might be back on the table on Friday. Who knows? This is good for markets right now, because now the markets are going to shoot through. Oh my God, we reached a peace deal. Donald Trump said, let the oil flow freely through the Strait of Hormuz. And by the way, China, he said it, and now it's the markets are going to be, it's confident again. And that's why so much shit's going on over here. Why you don't hear so much backlash is because their Dow is over 50,000. People are making money, so they're cool with it. They're not complaining. They don't give a shit. Dropping bombs on children. What do we know? That's over there. We're over here. Just give us our money to do what we want to do. The formation of a supervisory mechanism to implement the agreement. All right. The final agreement will be approved through the UN Security Council resolution. Final negotiations, number 14, will not begin before half of Iran's frozen funds are released. Iran's oil sanctions are suspended. The naval blockade is lifted. Okay? So you lift off those fucking sanctions. You give us our money, and you remove your goddamn boats from the waters near us before we even begin to negotiate. The final agreement will be limited only to the fate of enriched materials and enrichment, sanctions relief, and the program for rebuilding Iran's economy. Discussions about Iran's missile program and support for resistant groups have been definitely removed from the agenda. So when you're looking at this whole thing, right? Let me do this right here. When you're
very
looking
similar
at
agreement than what they proposed weeks ago.
This feels like Iran has won the war, imposed their will, and the United States is going along. I don't know how you fucking square this circle. I don't know if you buy it, right? These are the reasons why people think that there's a lot of inside shit going down, Sleepy, and that this is all a bunch of bullshit? Because
I don't think Israel's going to quit attacking Lebanon. So I think it's a moot point. But
they say they're gonna, right? They say it's part
yeah.
of
They
the
say
deal.
all kinds of shit that they don't do.
Why would the United States do this? Are they getting beat that bad that their friends around them and things
We're
about to
running out of-
collapse?
we're
why
running-
would they
we're
go?
running out-
Why would the United States and Donald Trump and all those other people, if the marketing was real, why would they sign this whole thing?
Because
Unless
we're running out of
this seems like they're
standoff
getting their
munitions.
ass kicked. No,
We're running out of standoff munitions. We're going to have to fly in deeper to Iran to attack pretty soon. And that's when we're going to start having casualties and shot down planes and shit.
you think that's the reason why they're doing
Yeah,
this?
100%.
So do you think this is about let's just slow down and stop maybe for a year or two, rebuild up our arsenal?
It's literally it's going to take like 2 to 6 years, depending on the weapon, to get the stocks back up to where they were. I mean, it's not great. We've spent a lot in Ukraine, weapons wise, and we were already not doing great on stocks of especially air defense stuff. Like our air defense shit, we're like damn near out of that crap. And if you can't really get your big ships near the shore because if you don't have a bunch of air defense, dude, they blew through a lot. I've heard a lot of analysis going through the data and stuff, and it's not good.
By the way,
And
thank
dude,
you to everybody.
Patriots, we make 600 a year. Thads, we make 12 a year. That's it. And Patriots, you fire out probably 2 to 3 missiles per thing you're shooting at. Those burn up quick.
By the way, we have over 30 people in the Rumble right now. And the Rumbles, that's pretty cool. We have 26 in the YouTubes. Nobody on Facebook, but we do. That's what I'm saying. Every show, there's some sleepyheads. Good morning, Indy. Glad you can join us 15 minutes, 14 minutes before you wrap up the fucking show. He comes in at 9:46. Morning.
Hey, it's Monday, bro.
Balls and rubbing his head, or maybe rubbing his balls and scratching his head. Who knows? I don't mean to be gross out there, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, but you could just envision it. He's morning. Fuck you been, bro. Fred Edward was here fucking 5 minutes before the show started, and you just come walking on in. No bacon, no eggs. Nothing.
Got kids. Come on.
Sure. Always use the kids excuse. You'd have been listening in the car.
Kids are tough.
You could have been listening in the car, and you could have sent a message on your phone saying morning. 13 minutes before we end. 14 minutes
before we end. What are you all salty
for? Congratulations, Indy. You're a champion. The New York basketball. New York Knicks are now the champions. I just heard my mom in there screaming, so she's up. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much. Tomorrow, Nico House will be with us. He's our Tuesday guest. This is Drive Time every day of the week. Complicated and expensive weapons aren't better weapons. Yeah, they're just...
And also, remember, most of our munitions are handmade because it makes the fucking military-industrial complex a lot more money. That's why we can't make more than that a year. So
the drone warfare has just changed fucking everything. Everything. It really has.
That's another
Colonel Douglas McGregor said 2 years ago. It's like, this is stupid because this is not the days of aircraft carriers and whatnot. And, there was even somebody who was on, I forgot what you called the board of the military men. There's a word for them. All the military guys that, on the board. There's like a little commission of them led by an admiral and all that, whatever. They advised the president. And one of them said, like, dude, a bombing campaign is not enough to win you a war, right? You have to occupy territory. And usually when you have a bombing campaign, you piss off the country you're bombing and they nationalize, they come together. So it's a way of uniting. So if you're going to bomb a country, you need to follow up with troops and all this other stuff. And it's just different. You can't, even though you'll see people out there, we have the greatest Air Force in the world. Yeah, we can drop bombs from way above. It only does so much. It only does so much.
The last
and there's
time
a way of shooting those down. The more you fly in there, the more you're going to get shot down, right?
The last time that was effective was the second Gulf War, and they didn't really have much of an Air Force or anything. So, and we spent a year? It was like a year and a half that we spent building up logistics lines and troops in the area to attack.
Yeah,
like they didn't do none of that shit. So, this isn't something you can just run into. You've seen the map of Iran. The fucking terrain there is insane. Like, You can either go it through the sheer cliffs and be fucked in the mountains, or you can go through the desert and be fucked in the desert because you can't take any equipment through there.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts.
There's been war games that they've used. It was the Millennial 2000, I think it was one of them, and they let like some lieutenant run the Iranian side, and they had a general run the American side.
Oh, and Iran won.
Iran won.
Hardcore.
My boy would tell me, and now I get to talk to my friend because now they turned the internet back on in Iran, right? People are like, well, why did they turn it off? Well, they found out, Elon Musk, little greasy hands, they turned off the Starlink because they were using the internet to coordinate attacks against Iran inside of Iran. So what do? They shut it down. There's always the action and the reaction. Is the reaction necessary to shut down the internet? You're killing a lot of small businesses in Iran and whatnot. And my friend from Iran, we talked about that. Like, he felt bad. He goes, but it was necessary. You have to be in. There were a lot of people who got behind Iran long term. They understood what was going on. So a lot of people suffered, right? The United States bombing bridges, they can cause a lot of damage and pain and hurt to citizens and civilians inside the country. I'm not doubting that. But this whole, and really, to tell you the truth, this Trump administration is something special when you hear people like Hegseth talk about like the normality of war moving forward is now committing war crimes. They've taken the gloves off. They've unleashed us. They've let us, America, be the crazy wild beast we are, and now we're going forth with it full-fledged. It's crazy when you think about that Americans are okay with that shit. The bombing of a school of girls. I mean, we're talking about this whole shit. Look how inhumane we've been since this thing has started. And now we're allowed to be inhumane. That's how you defeat the enemy. That's how you defeat an evil ideology that hates us for our freedom. It's scary because a lot of people are behind this and they're going along with it. Like I said, some of them are turning the blind eye because the Dow is over 50. I think we have that clip. See if we have that. The Dow is over 50. It is. That's why a lot of people are shutting up. A lot of people out there were like, look at this idiot. I can't believe we're talking about Epstein and she's mentioning the Dow.
The Dow right now.
It's a fucking reality. They've showed their ugly goddamn face. There are a lot of citizens in America that are okay. Now, I know a lot of people are not in the stock market, but there are a lot of people who are, and they're okay with the fucking wars. They're okay with us bombing children because they got their bottom fucking line in the market making them money.
It's true. It's all money game, dude. It's all money laundering and shit fuckery.
Guys, I want to thank you all. There's so many cool people that are in the chat. I mean, we have over 20 people in the YouTube. We have over 30 people in the Rumbles. We have about 50 people hanging on out. That's where we've been. It's been cool doing this every single day, getting up nice and early and seeing the people matriculate in. Tomorrow we have Nico House on. He will be our Tuesday guest moving forward. This Wednesday, of course, Karen Kwiatkowski will be our guest. Thursday is supposed to be Kyle Anzalone. He's on assignment, so we have to find a guest for Thursday. I already have somebody in mind. We have a phone caller calling.
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Miguel Santiago calling from Fort Lauderdale.
What's going on, Miguel?
Pasta, how are you?
Good. We're about to wrap up the show. You're going to get the last word over here today.
Hey, Jay.
So this is all you.
Yeah, I figured I'm just calling to verify what you said, that the stocks are popping this morning. And that's been kind of the trend throughout this whole war.
The Dow.
Something happened
right now.
Friday, and then something happened Sunday night. And, this is bigger news of a peace deal, but they certainly are popping. And the indexes, just for listeners who are kind of following this, always look at VOO. VOO is a Vanguard fund. Vanguard is kind of like a BlackRock.
Yep.
But this is their ETF. It's like a collection of stocks that follows the S&P 500. So it's a great indicator of where the whole American stock market is. And today it opened close to an all-time high. It's at $691. It opened at $691 per share. It's now up to $693 per share, and the high of this whole year was $699. So it's only like $5 short of an all-time high. And then there's another one to watch also that tracks the whole world market, and that is I'm sorry, I should have been prepared for this.
It's okay.
That's the small cap. VB is small cap stocks. Emerging markets is an interesting one to watch too. VWO, again, close to a $1 short of the all-time high for the year today, right now. VTI is another one, total stock market fund. It's at $372 a share. The all-time high for the year was $374 per share. Again, it's like $2 off.
All this during a war.
And then what would happen for the rest of the week? You know, the pattern has been, it drops, you know, by Friday it's down, and Monday it's back up again. You know, it's
manipulation. Everything's built on speculation too, so we have to watch all these things. But it is crazy right now too, as well. And I think it was, I don't know who made a montage. It was one of the mainstream media channels, I think, made a montage of Donald Trump talking the same guff all the time. It's going to end. It's not ending. It's going to end. And it's a back and forth. But this one looks a little bit more, I don't know, like it has a little bit more backbone behind it, because we have the Iranians coming out saying this is what we demanded, this is what we're getting. Look, if they stop the bombing in Lebanon and Gaza right now, what's the deals for Gaza? I didn't see anything on those 14 clauses for Gaza, but it said all fronts, including Lebanon. So it does definitely includes Lebanon. It probably includes Syria. You know, I'll take that, right? Like the women and children getting bombed stopped for a little while, even if it's a pause. I'll take that, right? We got to start there. But what is down the road? Is this just a pause so we can rebuild up our war economy and then unleash hell again, Mr. Santiago? I mean, that's what seems to be the pattern. This doesn't seem like a ceasefire. This seems like a pause. Just a time to regroup, to build more bombs so we can fucking kill more women and children.
I don't know. I think the wild card is always Israel, because regardless of what happens, they have a way of, you know, restarting the war and somehow blaming it on Iran or blaming it on somebody else. You know, what is surprising about this one and what is encouraging is that it does include Lebanon, and Lebanon seems to have been one of the, even though it's not mentioned, it's the unspoken, you know, one of the major unspoken goals of this war. You know, while we're all talking about Iran, even mainstream media still is ignoring Lebanon, ignoring what's going on. You know, the focus is Iran, and meanwhile Lebanon's getting bombed to shit, you know. And the fact that they're mentioning that now, that's part of the deal now, you know, that's encouraging.
Well,
but what
territory are they going to keep? Right?
Netanyahu to that.
What territory are they going to keep? And by the way, too, as well, like I agree with you to the extent that, you know, no, there's all the bombs that are made by Christians, the Christian nation, right? Like, so, I mean, they're accomplices here. They're walking hand in hand. Smedley Butler, war is a racket. There are people making so much money. So, yeah, I think they like it when people go, well, we're just doing this because of Israel. No, those companies that make all that money that aren't Zionists, they make a shit ton of money too. So they go hand in hand. So it is kind of weird. But that is interesting too as well. We have said this, and you know, it was almost like the liturgical calendar, right? How we were conditioned and propagandized for this, that the day of the bombing started and all the Catholic churches are reading that passage, the one that Mike Huckabee and Rick Sanchez and Marco Rubio weaponized, stating that if you love Israel, you know, love my people, whatever. That I can't even remember because it's so vague. But it's the passage they use to justify what's going on in Israel as Christians from their own Bible.
Yeah,
we so propagandized and promoted and just like conditioned to go along with these wars, you know, that I don't think that our culture's changed. I think that what the ruling classes saw with Donald Trump in the steering wheel is that they can continue to do the same things over and over, and they can even bring in somebody who's going to convince the population that it's a good thing for America to be involved in war. We got to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon, Miguel. Take the last word as we wrap up the show. You still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, we ask ourselves, what have we gained in this war? What has been gained through this war? Look at how much of Gaza Israel is occupying right now through their so-called security force. Look at how much of Lebanon Israel is occupying right now because of their so-called security perimeter. And, that could be it right there. What have we gained? So, the we, what do we mean by we?
Yeah.
So, but that's what was gained. That's undeniable. So what the United
Miguel,
States
when I talk about
a net loss. So that's my last word.
Well, thank you for calling in. With 3 callers today, you were number 3 times a charm, and I appreciate it. Hopefully you'll call in tomorrow. That was Miguel Santiago. And when I talk about we, right, I talk about the royal we. We, man, from the movie Lebowski. I'm talking about the royal we. Us. Me, you, the people watching and listening to Drive Time, guys. We love you, Miguel. I'm going to do the closing monologue and get us on out of here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, Jay. Bye, Pasta.
You got it, buddy. That was Miguel Santiago from RIM. Go check them out. They're playing soon. I think it's next week they're playing somewhere in Fort Lauderdale or downtown over there. We'll figure it out. As we wrap up today's show, let's take a moment to reflect on the importance of diversity of thought and the peace we can cultivate with our neighbors. In a world that often feels divided, it's our differences that can actually bring us together. Every unique story shared enriches our collective experience and fosters understanding. Remember, it's okay to disagree. It's how we handle those disagreements that truly matters. Let's embrace dialogue over debate, compassion over conflict. When we listen to one another, we open the door to meaningful relationships. By engaging with our diverse communities, we can find common ground and build bridges that promote peace. So I encourage you, reach out to someone with a different viewpoint, share a meal, have a conversation, or simply listen. Let's create a ripple effect of kindness and understanding in our neighborhoods and beyond, because sometimes conflict can often bring resolution. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Remember, together we can celebrate our diversity and pave the way for a brighter, more peaceful future. So until next time, keep the dialogue flowing and the peace growing. That's it for today, Drive Time in the Morning, episode 16. I am Craig Pasta Jardula. This was Sleepy J. We want to thank everybody for calling on in, the professor, Snorky, Miguel Santiago, all the people in the chat, Fred Edward, Indy, even if you got in real late. We appreciate you. You dingo ate me, baby. Guys, thank you so much for helping us grow. Tomorrow, Nico House will be here. We'll talk a little bit of basketball because we got to talk about the Knicks with Nico, but we'll talk about other things that's going on. We're going to keep close eye on this peace deal, these negotiations, and everything that's going around us. So until tomorrow, we love you, and we'll see you on later. I'm doing a Truth Wire with Mac Weinglass at 12:30 Eastern Time. If you want to check that out, come on in and take a listen. But until then, I love you all, and peace.